Hi, you're listening to Think Property Club. This is where we talk to people who are in the property game, especially in the property development game, one of my love and passions. And today I'm talking to a fellow student, but now an experienced developer, which is what normally happens, which is kind of the reason that I love teaching people so that I can hang out with more people like me. Kind of a selfish thing, isn't it, Grant?
I totally get it.
Yep. You get it? Good.
Yeah.
So my name's Jason John Byron. I've got Grant Everson here.
Yep.
Or Iverson? What is the name? What's the one you got to go under?
Iverson is how it's pronounced down here in Sydney. So up there in Queensland, you can call it Iverson if you like. So
So
no
tell us
problem.
about that. Well, tell us straight up about the name, the surname. Where's the background
It's
of it?
actually Danish. So my dad was a Dane, and it's a very family tradition. So there's kind of that background in Viking kind of in me. So I kind of feel that come out sometimes. And as a property developer now, you kind of got to get that inner Viking out from time to time and charge on through.
So do you have another name with Grant? Is it like Hans Christian or something? Or
No, but I will work on something like that. You've given me another project to work on, so I like that.
Great. Okay, so we're talking to the Dane today. Okay, so what we're going to do today, if you want to flick through the slides for me, this is Woodstone, right, as you can see there. And Woodstone is your development company. So straight off first, I mean, do you want to start telling people about, well, let's go right back to your childhood and how you got into it, because I think that's a really interesting story. I grew up in Sydney as well, and I grew up on the northern beaches around Mona Vale. Whereabouts did you grow up?
Grew up out in a suburb called Castle Hill, which was out kind of back in those days. It was out in the sticks, and I think my very first memory of property development was, when I was the age of 10, my mum and dad bought a block of land and they built a house on there, and they kind of project managed it themselves, and back in those days, that was a big thing. And I remember Saturday mornings, we used to go down to the site and get excited. We'd just stand there and a week would have gone by and, all of a sudden there was a slab that's gone down, and then the next week, you've got the frame up. And as a kid, I remember my friends used to play on the swings, but my joy for the week was climbing up onto the top floor. And back in those days, OH&S was there was never a fence around a site, so you were climbing in and out, and then all of a sudden the roof went on, and you could get up, and we'd sit up on the roof and look out, and there was a pond.
Yes,
back.
I remember those days where we had a tiled roof. I don't know what your roof was, but we used to just climb up. It was just fun one day when you were bored. You're like, I'm going to look at that roof up there. I'm going to actually get a ladder, whatever I can, climb up that tree, and I'm just going to sit on the roof for a couple of hours.
Yeah, totally. And it was the thing, like instead of, nowadays just being inside, you get out into the development sites and, then you put a pool in and then you're in and out of the pool. And, I can't believe, you get through your childhood and relatively unscathed. But I think that's where the lust, I guess, for property development came. I remember those days. It was just great days, and watching things grow out of nothing. It was fantastic.
And what did your dad do?
Dad used to work in a research farm. He was worked for a company called Pfizer, and he worked out of a research farm, and Mum was a teacher. So for both of them, it was a massive gamble for them to kind of take a journey. And I think that's probably where I've followed that, is that I saw them get in, and I remember my parents at their most proudest moment when they were actually looking at these developments or these properties that they were building, and they'd stand there and they'd have these massive smiles on their face, and then Dad would go to work on a Monday and got to go to work, but come Saturday we'd be off to the house to have a look at how it's going. My mum, even now at almost 80, still loves to renovate a house and redo the house, and every season there's a different pillow on the lounge, and she just loves it, and that's when you see people, you just know they're in their element.
Yeah, well, my dad built his first house with his mate Don, and Don was a builder, so I'll never forget that. But they did the house, and then they did the garage, and then we did the pool. The pool was bigger than the house, which was quite strange. They decided that I would be an Olympian, and then they built a 12.5 meter pool because it was half length for 25, and then we're like, why is this pool so big? No one has pools this big. So anyway, that was their dream for me. I won't go into why I'm not an Olympian. I pretty much threw in the towel after a while, going, oh, I don't really like swimming that much. I'd rather go surfing. So that was a problem. So if you want your kid to be an Olympian, don't build it next to the beach, because they just end up surfing instead. But I remember the only memory I have is cobblestones. Because cobblestones are really in back then. It's like, oh, I'm going to have cobblestones. You don't have to cement anything. And I had to cobblestone the whole length of the house, and the block was like 1,000 square meters. So from the front to the back would have been 20 meters of cobblestoning, and I've never forgot that experience. And every time I see a cobblestone, I don't have good memories. So that's there you go.
I'm picturing your backyard now, Jason. It's just all concrete.
How did you know? So what we've got is fake grass. And Amy put like 4 stones out the front. And I was like, okay, well, there's circles, so not cobblestones. But it was good. It teaches you to be hard and to work hard and do stuff. That's good. But there are now, I don't do that. I prefer to watch instead of do, which is fine. So, okay, so you grew up Castle Hill. Did you go to school the whole time there, or did you stay in there, or did you migrate through
one
other
school
suburbs?
in me. So, I went through Castle Hill High and, the normal kid, kind of from a normal family, and then from there got into hospitality. So got a hospitality background, which is something that I really loved. But I think that lust for property development always came back to me. I think when I was working in hospitality, I think some of my most proudest moments were a lot of the hotels I worked in were older hotels, and we used to go in and renovate these hotels and do significant renovations. And, I remember you saying in a lot of your seminars, it's your most favourite part of the development is the demo stage, So we'd go into these places and we'd rip things out, and, it would just be an amazing kind of event to watch this thing grow and evolve and go to council and get DAs and approvals, and then looking at it at the end and people coming in and just saying, wow, what an amazing creation you guys have done. So I think that's kind of what kept me that sort of foot in the door, I suppose, for development and lust for development. And I think as I moved forward, just always had it in me, and I just didn't get a chance to get it out. And I think now I'm at that point now. I'm living the dream and being able to do the property development side of things, which is great.
And I find that life is sometimes like that. You go in one direction, you always want to do something else, but you just didn't quite have the right person to connect with.
Yes.
I mean, I'm your coach, but this is, I had a coach as well before me that kind of came into my life, and I was like, okay, so it's like my whole thing about life is it's not about what education you had or where you're at. It's who's the person that can help you, because that's what we're here to do, help people, right? And you've even got that in what you do now also, on the side. So do you want to flick through to the next slide?
Yeah.
So tell us about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So 20 years in hospitality and management. So we went. My last probably 10 years was more of at an executive level, and we'd go in and we'd buy these assets. I'd work for a hotel group. We'd buy these assets and then we'd go and renovate them. But previous to that, I had 10 years in the Mean Fiddler, which is out at Rouse Hill. So some people would know, that this big, massive pub in the middle of Rouse Hill, and that was where I kind of transitioned from working behind the bar and then got into management. So I was there for 10 years, and then from there just got had enough. The 10, 20 years of hospitality, working late nights, it kind of burns.
It was 20 years, yeah.
20 years. So
that was me too. I did a 20-year too.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? And I think everything now kind of for me is getting 10 years. I've been working with Victoria, my partner, and we set up a naturopathic clinic in 2014, and it's been 10 years, and you sort of start to get itchy.
So how do you go from a pub to a naturopath?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big difference.
It's mad.
Were you feeling guilty, were you?
Yes. I had to have a year to prepare for it. So I had a sabbatical. So I prepared.
Well, I suppose naturopathic clinic kind of might have been also the influence from your dad, right? Research and
yes,
finding new ways to help people with medicine. Yeah.
Yep. So that's been a good journey for us. We've managed to operate quite a successful business. We've got a team of 12 staff now, and that's really what kind of led us into being able to leverage into development. I think the development doesn't just happen. You've got to get your ducks in a row, and I think one of the biggest things for us was that I remember so clearly a day where we sat in our accountant's office and we said, "Oh, right, we want to go and develop," and he said, "You can't. You don't have good figures. You don't have track record. We're only new." And he said, "Look, if you want to get into development," and I didn't know what I know now. Had I known now what I know, I probably would have said, "Yep, thanks for your advice. I'm going to see Jason and Amy." But we followed that traditional kind of path, and that traditional path was that we just needed to buckle down and really get the business in a very tidy position for the bank. And a lot of it was just the strategy that Vic and I had every day was, how do we build this business to then go on and build the next business? So I guess a learning for us and some of the skills that we got through that was really looking strategically, and that really taught me to think about long term, and not sort of what can I do next year, but what does my next 5 to 10 years look like? And I never really.
How do you set that up?
Yeah.
Instead of just jumping into it, that makes a lot of sense. And I've a similar journey as well. Had to get out of father-son business, but I did set it up so that someone could take over it, so that I could exit. I think maybe that what allows you to be successful sometimes is obviously persistence is one thing, but it is a setup. How are you going to set it up so that you do able to actually concentrate on it? Because I talk a lot about shiny balls and all these things kind of going on that you kind of keep looking here, there, what should I do? But if you actually take care of something and say, okay, this is where I'm going to do it, then I can move on to somewhere else. In jobs, like Amy and I had jobs, so we had to say we're going to limit the amount of effort we put into our jobs to the minimum amount of what we're expected in our jobs, but not over that. Because like yourself, we're high achievers. So naturally, you put us in a job, we'll be the best employee. This is what we're born to do. But we had to kind of say, okay, that's where the limit of where we're doing it, and we're happy with doing that. We're not going to do any extra, no weekend work, no extra work. We will then concentrate on the other angle where we want to go to. So it sounds very similar to there. Yeah. Okay, so you, in the last bit there, you aim to sell the clinic.
Yeah, so look, really, we want to be free. The clinic's been excellent for us. Victoria's got her vision, and she wants to run online programs, which will give us the freedom to do that. At the moment, she's still doing 3 days working on the tools, so to speak, and another 2 days training the team and training the staff. But for me, it's really about kind of setting myself up with that team around me and to be able to leverage and to live that lifestyle that we kind of all dream about. It's about waking up in the morning and jumping out of bed. It's about kind of doing stuff like this and talking and networking with people who are just, big vision, and it's just exactly what I want to do, and I think that the clinic for us has been a fantastic tool. It's taught us strategy and growth and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're kind of getting to the point now where we're really clear on where we want to go and what we want to do. And I think property development is right on for us.
Yeah, great. Okay, great. What I'm looking at now is your vision board. To be able to make sure that you're constantly seeing that there's something about mindset isn't only about mantras and going to an event every now and then, but it's got to be basically in front of you every single day what you want and what you want to achieve. So it's worked for me. People I looked at it at the beginning and went, don't see how that's going to work, but it's just that constant repetition. It's NLP, neuro linguistic programming, right? So if you keep seeing it something over and over and over again, you kind of aim for it.
I've never had a vision board, and I've been in some successful businesses, and I just can't thank you guys enough, because it wasn't until you said turn up to the mastermind with your vision board, I'm like, I've got to make a vision board, and I mean, that's accountability, and I look at this thing every day. I look at it morning and night. It's in my bedroom when I wake up in the morning, and I see it when I go, and I've got to say it works, and it's just, it draws you. You know, some days you might have a bad day at work, and you look at that and you just think, "Yep, I'm on track." You know, that's where I'm going.
I remember when I did my first one, and I always used to love those TV shows or the movies where you see the crazy guy who gets all the string and joins things together. You know, so I did mine like that, and then what I did is I had pictures of people that I needed to get closer to make that happen, and so I get a piece of string and I put their photo there, and I'd string that to there, and then I'd string this to here, and then I'd string, because that's what I've always felt, that there was people that you needed to connect with or part of your team. And so that would be an interesting development from there. Who's the next? Because there's always the next person. Like, sure, you know, you come into our journey and we'll always be with you. But then it's like, okay, well, who is the next person in your own personal private team that you want to approach, that you want to get, or who do you admire? Yeah. So I think that's important as well. That's great.
Having that board up every day, it's life-changing for us, you know. And I think that's one of the greatest things that I have got from being part of the group is just the stuff that you bring to us. It's just really good stuff. It's tangible.
And your mindset then is focused as well.
Yeah.
So I don't see, like, you know, on this, I can really see the focus of where you're at. And the problem is that sometimes we just have too many things going on, you know, and too many things escaping us to, oh, you should go do this instead, or you should go do that. But if we can do this and we know where our focus is, we don't have to concentrate on these other things. When other people come into our life and they see that you're going places, like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you go, no, this is my vision. Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay, that's beautiful. Next slide. So all right, let me talk about these now. These look very interesting. So what we're looking at here is 1, 2, 3, 4 properties, starting off in 2009. So tell us about that beach shack first of all.
So we went down the traditional route with regards to property investment. So you know, we thought, you know, go and buy a whole heap of whatever you can, and over time it'll grow. So we bought this property in Bondi, 2009, and basically it just didn't grow. You know, we bought it for
what is it? Is that a 3-level townhouse?
No, it's actually, it looks a lot better than what, like in that picture. We had the little, if you could have a look down here behind this garden. Fence, it's a 1-bedroom, 52 square metre unit in Bondi. Yeah, so we sat on it for years, and it just didn't go up, and it was great. It served the purpose for us. It was our principal place of residence. For us now, the position we're in, we've just sold that. For us, it's more important to have that money tied up in development.
Yeah. One of the targeting things that I teach a lot of people is it's all about location. And you hear about location. No, it's not just about but you can't just say that, you know, it's location. It's really got to be about, why do people want to live there?
Yeah.
So I knew that I grew up in the North Shore, moved to DY, moved from DY into Paddington, and then Paddington was pretty close, just up the road from Bondi, right? So I used to surf. I didn't surf at Bondi Beach. I surfed over at Bronte. So that was my beach there. Because I'm not allowed to call myself a surfer, because if there's any surfers listening, they go, "You're not a surfer. You're an esky lid surfer." So I'm a boogie boarder. And so I'd get beaten up on a boogie board over at Bondi Beach. So I found a home at Bronte with the other boogie boarders where I could cut in on people's waves. So but Bondi Beach, right, where you are there, I mean, what are your memories of being in that location and Bondi, and what was your favorite shop in Bondi, or the best area?
So for us, it was an entry point into the market. So it wasn't a case of where we wanted to live. And I think that was part of the frustrating thing. We were in Bondi, but we spent all our mornings, all our afternoons, our evenings down on the beach. So it was kind of frustrating in the sense that we bought in this location, but we weren't living where we really wanted to live. And I think that makes it really important. You know, I think you've got to be able to come home from work at the end of the day and sit back and go, you know what, I absolutely love where I live. You know, we spend so much time there. So we're now rent investors. So we now live on Campbell Parade. It's in a nice apartment, and it's exactly the apartment that what we want to live in. And when we get to the end of the presentation, I'll show you the actual unit that we want to actually live in and buy.
So what is the key points about living in Bondi to people that have not lived there before, other than always just seeing this one beach? Like, there's a lot more to Bondi than just the beach, right?
Yeah,
the beach is great, but the food, the entertainment, the pubs, the culture, the backpackers, the coffee, the characters, the schools, the markets, like the cliff. You know, you go up to look off the cliff. Like, what are your memories of Bondi?
It's the Bondi bubble.
Like
it is, and it exists. You know, everybody in Bondi just says, look, why would you leave? You know, it's got, like you say, it's got cafes, it's got restaurants, it's got an eclectic kind of culture. You know, kind of anything goes. You can go and, you know, get dressed up to go out to dinner, or you can dress down to go out to dinner. It's a really cool vibe. And look, for me, I'm getting older, and living in this environment just makes me feel young. You know, I get up in the morning, I go down to the strip, 5:30, there's people out, there's joggers, there's, you know, people having their coffee. It's fun, you know, and I just feel...
what I'm getting, the sense here is something that we talk a lot about in property development, right? When we teach you, like, all the merits behind it, is that you like a busy place to live.
Yeah.
You love that atmosphere, because some people go, why would you build something now? I would hate to live here. But that's what I mean. There is a huge amount of people that thrive after that. You know, and I was the same at one point. Now I got a couple of kids. It's kind of changed a little bit, but yeah, I would hang out most of my time down there as well. And that's when we can kind of look for the replicates of that, like in Coogee, right? Which is quite a drive from Bondi. Like, it's not next door to it. It's quite a bit down the road, but it has that same type of feeling. But anything between Bondi and Coogee, it's just not the same. Maroubra's definitely not Coogee, you know? Like, a beach isn't just a beach. It's about the atmosphere that comes around it, right?
Yeah. It's that personality that it has, you know, and it's the sum of everything, really, you know, and it's what makes it special. It's the people, it's the culture, it's the lifestyle. It's great.
Yeah. So an agent said to me once, this is a great agent that we use to sell all our stock, and everyone keeps trying to get us to use someone else. We're just like, why would we? This guy knows everyone, and he's got PTR, proven track record of selling stuff. But he said to me, what I sell houses on isn't the house. Well, oh, thanks a lot. We just put all this effort into building this beautiful house, all these features. When you're telling us you don't sell that, because no, I sell them on what is around the area, what it's like to live here.
Yeah.
So that's great. All right, we'll go through. So these three other properties here, we have Bald Hills, Kipper Ring, two in Kipper Ring there. These were just buy and whole ones, or was there any motivation between buying both of them, or did you have any help? Or?
Yeah, look, this is a really good example of being very clear on what you want, particularly when you look at a long-term vision. We bought these through a buyer's agent, a very good buyer's agent at that, you know, and he did a really great job for us. But where we failed in this was we were not clear in our long-term strategy. We went to him and we said, we want to buy in Brisbane, we want something with development potential, and we want it within that sort of 450 to 500K mark. So he went out.
That mark is important, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. And so we came back.
They won't throw you stuff at 600. They'll say, okay, 4 5. That's where you're probably better spending. In Brisbane, it's such a funny market, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to interrupt you here, but I think that's a great point. That when you're in the property game, you just know it and you live it and breathe it, and you just look at any property and go, that's for you. You shouldn't buy that. You should go 2 suburbs over, spend another 50 grand, which is nothing really.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you know, the end where you're situated, but you should go over here and buy that property in that particular ring, because that's going to be more beneficial to you. But even with these ones here, you gave them the task. This is our budget here.
Yeah.
It would have been about what's the rental coming in, right? Which is kind of what most people look at.
We're kind of neutral on the Kipper Ring one down the bottom, up the top here. That one cost us a fair bit of money. There was a lot of repair work that needed to be done on that. You know, when you get an agent that says, look, you know, you will get a better price because there's a lot of work to be done, that doesn't equate to, you know, like, that might be great to save $5,000, but over 3 years, it costs us probably $30,000 or $40,000 in repairs and maintenance. So just really looking long term, you know, and the point I'm trying to press here is you've got to, every development or property, you have to have a specific, clear objective as to what you need to get from that property, almost starting with the end in mind and work back.
And it comes down to a lot of people. Well, I'm a member of a whole lot of groups, and what we forget now as property developers is you don't have the knowledge to make that choice.
Yeah.
So I don't blame people sometimes when they say I just bought this or that, and I think you did okay. But the thing is that if you don't have the skills to be able to develop stuff, then you want something that's developable. But I mean, that's you don't know really the merit of how to do it in the end of the day. So unless you know how to do it, you just look at properties as the house.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you looked at, the house and the income. Whenever I look at these, I look at, okay, well, what's the land and how much it's going to cost me to convert it? And then like what you said before, and I've had the first two properties that we developed, well, one of them was just run down and just kept getting run down, and we'd make $6,000 positive, and then we'd have to spend $6,000 on returns, on fixing things. And so what that would mean is that these particular properties here, sure, when they're older, they actually cost you more money than when they're brand new. And so now, because you have the skills to be able to build new in the right areas, because you could have bought something new, but it would be in a worse area. It would be a house and land package somewhere, right? So now that you have the skills, if you had all those skills today, then these first properties I'm looking at here would all be brand new properties. Because in the long run they rent easier, they get better returns long term from your capital growth, from the revaluations, and you just don't have to maintain them as much.
It's so true, Jason. Like I when you look at going into this type of portfolio, it just and I call it our dud portfolio because it just was a dud, like it didn't have any kind of sexiness about it from a development perspective or long-term objective. I mean, the buyer's agent was excellent. He gave us what we were looking for, what we asked for, particularly with the two Kippa-Ring properties. I mean, we wanted to get something in a developing area, preferably side by side. So we managed to secure these two sites, Kippa-Ring. So this was 23 crol and this was 25 crol. And they were side by side, and they were both around that 600 square metres. So we thought we were doing really well. We had 1,200 square metres in Kippa-Ring in an emerging community. So we went ahead, we bought the site, we thought, let's start developing next week. We went to council and said, we've just bought these 2 blocks of land. We can, based on previous track record in other locations, we should be able to put 12 townhouses on this site. Council said, whoa, this is emerging community. And I said, well, when are you going to develop this? And they said, well, it hasn't even gone to state government yet. I said, okay, no worries. How long is that going to take? Do we need to sit on it for a year or something? He said, mate, 10 years at least. And I'm just like, my gosh, we're now maxed out. We've got 4 assets. None of them are cash flow positive. We're sort of sitting around that $45,000 in the red every year. And I'm like, what do I do? It was just a disaster. But, you put that down to experience, and it's what motivated us to move into PDS. We joined PDS in 2018. My sole purpose was to come in and learn how do we kind of, A, look at things differently, and B, how do we get ourselves out of this mess?
That's pretty common with a lot of people. So PDS stands for a course that I run called Property Developer Success, which is really basically exactly that. It's not just coaching. It's saying, well, what were the action steps that I took in my own journey to be successful at what I do as property development? Because anyone can learn how to be a property developer. Anyone can pick up a book. It'll cost you $30 and get it down and order it off the internet, whatever. You can watch stuff and you can get the information. But what I say, and that's knowledge, right? But what you really need to know is the applied knowledge. That's the difference between having a book and then copying someone's who's got the system figured out. And that's what we did. We had the system figured out. We found a way that we could actually copy that into a process that someone else could copy exactly what we did. And I think a lot of people just come to us because we've got applied knowledge instead of just knowledge. And I think that makes a big difference. And we're active.
I think one of the most impressive things for me, Jason, coming into PDS and then elevating into next level mastermind is you guys have got a really good system, and you can see there's a lot of property people out there, you know, and I have done a lot of those courses, and you know, I even did those courses prior to this and still made this mess. But you've almost got a system that's a no-fail system. If you follow the system, you know, start with X and then go to Y, you can't fail, you know, and it's proven. You've got track record, and it's easy. You know, I know you.
I'm amazed when I go back and I have a look at them all, and I'm like, have we done that much? It doesn't even feel like stuff at the end because it is a system that we repeat through.
Yeah.
And I think the focusing, because our first property was a development. You know, that was what it was. So we just kept going, this works. We keep going on that journey through. So that works. Yeah. So that's good. So what happened? Where the state of them now? Are they all gone or?
So this is the result of what happened when I came.
I know Bald Hill's gone.
Yeah, Bald Hills. We've wrapped up all of these now. So, and I've got to say, you know, Amy worked really hard with me to get results from these, and we actually came out in front. And I honestly never thought we'd do that. I mean, with Bald Hills, you know, I bought Bald Hills, and this is probably a really interesting story to tell because I bought Bald Hills with a 5-year plan I was going to develop on it. It was 2 titles side by side, so traditional kind of Queensland block, 2 titles.
So sitting separate on 2 separate lots, but one house over 2 lots. That's good. So if you take the house away, you're sitting on 2 lots.
Yep. So I'd had this plan that, you know, I was going to put 2 luxury homes. We were going to get rid of the house, put 2 luxury homes on there. And I went and did all my build costs. I did everything. I've got my builder lined up, ran my numbers, 3% margin, you know, and I'm like.
We don't go after blocks that mum and dad would buy.
Yes.
Because they don't need to make a profit margin.
Yeah.
And so, sure, if you're a mum and dad, you buy a block of land, you build a house, and your total cost is 800 and it's valued at 800, you're like, oh, that's good. We did well.
Yeah.
But as a developer, you've got to make sure you don't make that mistake. It's got to be and it, again, as a developer, like what you talked about with Bondi, anyone listening wants to be a developer or wants to get better at it, it's about the location of where that development will be, where that new product will be, because most of the time they're smaller blocks. But we need them to be in that type of atmosphere that it is closer to amenities. I've seen developments done right on the outskirts of stuff, and they never get the highest profit margin. The highest profit margins are when they're really close to the shops, right?
Yeah. So with the Bald Hills one, Amy said, let's just keep it simple. Let's just get rid of the house. Let's just clear the site and sell the two blocks separately. I said, sounds too easy to me. I rang a couple of people who do demo. The guy said, look, I'll sell the house for you. I just need 2 months. So he sold the house. He then, part of the sale of the house, said, if I sell your house, I'll clear your site for free.
So let's just explain that to people listening here. I understand exactly what you're talking about, but what happens when you get 2 ways? If your place is not on the ground, on a piece of concrete directly on the ground, and it's above the ground, most of the time you can lift up and take it somewhere else. So if it's on the ground, forget about it. But most of the time, especially up in Queensland, they're off the ground. Now, if they don't have a hell of a lot of asbestos in them, because if you've got to suddenly go and take it somewhere else and replace all the asbestos and other stuff, it costs too much money. But they can have a little bit, but not a lot. Then you can cut it in half, and then you can take that. And most of the time, these properties end up in a low social area where, you know, we now just do them up because it's cheaper than actually building a house to just cut this one in half, take it somewhere else, replant it somewhere else, and then someone else is happy with that house. So what's happened here, you've spoken to a demo guy, said, I'll demo it, but first I'm going to actually get you some money back because I'm going to sell this house, lift it up, take it somewhere else, and then I'll demo the land. And then once the land's demo, you're basically looking at 2 rectangles, right, that you can sell separately.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just as simple as it was, Jason. You know, like there was a night where, at 12 o'clock, they turned up. The day before, they chopped the house in half. They backed the trucks up. They lift them up. They back the truck up. They then drop the house down. It sits on a chassis. And then they just drive off like it was done in 5 hours. It was just amazing, you know. And we were about to demolish this house, you know, and knock it down. But we ended up making $10,000 out of the whole process of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing where you kind of look at it. Other times I've been in that situation before where we could have cut it and done it, but the time frame would have been too long. So we just demoed it because it's, again, how much I'm going to get? 10,000 works there, time frame, right? Okay, yeah, go and do it. And that's kind of nice. Now, having said that, anyone that's listening to this, it's all about how they leave the site. Okay, so if you're ever dealing with demo guys, it's not so much about what can they do, but how do they leave the site afterwards? Because for a builder or anyone to buy it, it needs to be cleared, nice, no junk on the land. So I've seen some stories before where someone demos it or something, and then they leave all the rubble there, or they don't clear it, or they don't level it. So what we want to end up with is the house gone, then all the concrete and everything like that taken away, and you're not quoted extra on the concrete. It's a full, make sure that contract says everything is included. Because I've seen stuff before where all the concrete was just left on site and there's another 10,000 and removed the concrete because it's heavy stuff, right? And so, okay, so you cleared it, you got 2 blocks of land now, and then what was your strategy behind selling them? Did you sell them both separately, or?
So we wanted to reduce our debt. So we were capped out from a serviceability perspective. So collectively with these 4 properties, we were sitting on around about $3 million worth of debt. And with regards to equity, we're capped out on equity. We had about $600,000 locked into all of these. And it was just like a nightmare. We just couldn't go anywhere with it. You know, we were just paying the bank every month. And it was really, you know, a relief to know that we could get rid of these properties, offload them. And with the Bald Hills one, we came out $40,000 in front. And with the 2 Kippa properties, we came out about $25,000 in front. Now, that wasn't a lot, but for me, that was such a relief because it created an opportunity, A, to reuse that equity elsewhere, and B, to be able to cap a hole in your bucket when you're seeing money go out every year and not know what to do with it is disheartening. You know, and we had, you know, all these dreams that we wanted to do, but we just were capped out and locked in. So, you know, Amy and yourself were really great in let's just get these wrapped up. And it took about 6 months.
It's not that hard for us to see and do that either.
Yeah,
because we just see the vision of what would we do in your situation.
Yeah.
Now, whenever someone says, "Well, how do I do this?" I go, "How would I do it?" Okay, this is what I would do, and it's normally the right way because I'm looking at my applied knowledge. How will I apply my knowledge? Well, it's not too much I should do it there. I should put it somewhere else, and it can be. I sometimes would sell the property and then go buy in exactly the same suburb, but in a different location to achieve what I wanted to, or just getting another 10 square meters. Silly things like that. All right, we're going to speed through a little bit more here.
So, during that whole time, it took about 6 months to get everything wrapped up. So, you know, I was motivated to kind of take it to the next level. I said to Amy, well, look, what else can we do? And she said, well, you got any money in your super? So we said, well, yeah. So we basically then looked at, we were in a clinic in Cremorne, and our lease was coming up, and we've been in that clinic for 5 years. And we said, well, what do we do? And we thought, well, now's the time to access our super. The whole super legislation was tightening up. So basically, we just moved into a new premises in Neutral Bay. It took us about 6 months to find the site. We did all of this whilst we were waiting for the Queensland properties to clean up. And then we ended up buying ourselves a really nice 100 square metre clinic for our naturopath clinic in Cremorne, so that when we sell the business, we've still got the asset there, and we'll hopefully sell the business as a going concern, and we'll have a tenant in there.
And this is how, when people say to me, do I do resi or commercial? I go, I don't really see the point in flipping commercial properties. I think a commercial thing, if you want to hold properties, that's beautiful. Go and do commercial. Then if that's the only way that I can possibly think of doing commercial is a hold. But not everyone's in a position where they just want to hold one property and do that. You know, we want to kind of, how are you going to change your life just holding something? You need to be able to then, we can increase the equity a bit, but it doesn't really happen too much in commercial. You kind of hold it, you might get some income coming in. But the real benefit out of doing property development is to be able to do deals, sell them on, get, you know, $500,000 cash, and then go and do whatever you want with it. But you're not going to, it's not really a strategy in commercial as such, but that strategy there in your self-managed super fund is perfect because you're in control. I think that's really good advice for people that, you know, with especially what goes on in the world and the uncertainty, and that at least if you've got a property, you've got the foundation of it there. It can't disappear overnight, which is why I think it's a really good strategy to do.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, for people who have got businesses, you know, and those who are listening with businesses, there's no better feeling that when you're renting a place, paying somebody, and you've got a business, and you've got then move into your own business, and you're paying that money every single week in your own bank account, albeit it's your super fund. That's a great feeling, you know, and it's a feeling, a sense of relief, particularly even going through COVID. You know, like we've put money, our rent now covers the cost of the repayments. So for us, it was just comfortable going through COVID, knowing that if we had to wind things back a little bit, we still can control.
And you probably,
our own
during
destiny.
COVID, you would have had to talk to your landlord and say, hey, you know.
Our landlord's a tough cookie.
Look in the mirror. Look, guys, look, Matt. That's a funny one.
So look, I guess key steps there for us is just, you know, it gave us something to do whilst we were waiting to consolidate. It's a pretty easy development. You know, it's just fit out of 5 offices.
Did you find that you used some of your knowledge in materials and budgeting and time frame and picking the right people in that simple one there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, project 2 is called the Bondi Boomer.
Yep. So this was our principal place of residence. So you imagine 2009, we really hadn't done a lot to that place. And we decided that, look, it's time to sell the principal place of residence. You know, we wanted to move on. We'd had a little bit of growth spurt through Bondi, so it was the right time to clean things up. And we just did a quick 3-week turnaround. We redid the floors, painted, redid the kitchen, redid the bathroom, just modernised it, put an air conditioning in there. And we had it valued in 2020 for $885, and then we sold this only 2 months ago for $1.215. So we got a really nice return on that, and I think we just got in at the right time.
Yeah. And you didn't, even in your renovation, didn't over-capitalise and overspend. Like one thing we talk about that we naturally have to do as property developers is constantly pay wholesale prices for stuff, constantly use people that just aren't referrals, but from a business point of view are going to give us the best type of service. And then always look at the budget. Just not let's just spend whatever we can on this. Let's just do what we think will be good. Let's just get everyone in, and then we'll work out what the cost is at the end. No, we treat everything like a business, right? You would have known the exact cost of everything that was going into that even before you started. And I think that's a really good talent in itself to have, even before we start building. Just a talent to be able to know the right materials and don't pay over the top for things at retail price, right? Having the branding and having the name and having that normal conversation with people when you are a property developer allows you to get so many things at a better price and allows you to negotiate too, right?
Yeah. And that's so true. We were looking at, when I was doing PDS, always ask for trade price, you know, and I went into Bunnings, I said, I want a trade price on this. And yeah, sure, it's 20% off. Like, I mean, I've just got to ask. I mean, and that's where I think, you know, being in PDS for me, you know, it's all the little hidden stuff that adds up, you know, just by learning no to ask for a discount, you know, cover the cost of the course, you know, the money I saved, you know. I mean, that renovation was $32,000 renovation, you know, and it was that was a new kitchen, new bathroom, we redid the floors, redid, you know, a lot of stuff, but it would have been $45,000, you know, and the return on that, you know, we got close to probably $200,000 return, and just doing it smart, not over-capitalising, asking for trade prices. It was great. It's good. It's a really good strategy.
Beautiful. Great to hear. Okay, so that's been renoed now, and you've passed that one on. This one now, project 3, is called the Dunmore Twins. So what are we looking at here?
This is where development for me started. So the other stuff was more or less just kind of cleaning stuff up. This is where my heart really started to beat. So the Dunmore Twins is our first development.
Now, what we're looking at here in the slides, in case you're listening, is a duplex, right? So you get a common party wall down the middle, and you get, you know, one build we've split in half, but it looks really good.
Yeah. So we got this through a buyer's agent, and actually came through the PDS community. So we just, you know, following the community and sort of getting, you know, involved with everything. We saw that there was a buyer's agent that said, you know, he's got a deal. Anybody interested, make contact, you know. And he, I spoke to him. I remember I was at the airport up in Ballina coming back from a holiday, and by the time I got back from Ballina, next day I was down South Coast, which is where Dunmore is. looking at the site, called in the next day and said, "Yep, it's a goer." You know, I did my numbers. There was proven track record. I felt comfortable with the buyer's agent. That's an area that he specialised in. Introduced me to the builder, so it was really quick. And this is part of.
Oh, so there's a few tips there, right? So you obviously got proven track record in the area. So have other people done duplexes in this area before?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, then you've now got to hook up with a builder, which is good, which again, you're going to negotiate on a budget, not just a price to say, well, this is what we can afford to do it. So that's really good. And when you get teams of people like that, you've got someone that's known in the area, so that's great to do that. And I suppose you would have looked at the overall map and be able to work out the location of this and where it was going to be placed, right?
Yeah, this is a new land release, very close to a new marina that's been built, and a multi-million-dollar marina. The infrastructure that's gone in down the south coast for this area is phenomenal. They've put in new rail links, upgraded roads. It's a really booming area, and this was
you basically followed the money.
Yeah, and it was that easy. It was just so easy just to kind of go, well, look, yep, you can see new roads going in here. There's a train station here. It was everything you taught in the course. I said, well, you know, this is a no-brainer. You know, and
that's what it is. Some people like say to me, what is it? Well, if I got 8 targets, I'm looking at it. If I got 4 targets, I don't look at it. I just walk away.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to explain because I have to go into detail about the target methods that we use, but they do work.
Yeah.
And that they also will show you where not to go. And that's really what I want to show people.
Yeah.
I want to almost be arrogant to a point, and I am from that point of view. Go, no, just don't bother. There's an easier way to do it. Go here instead, because even though you might feel like there's a good price or something there, or someone's told you to go there, it doesn't make sense from a targeting point of view. It's going to be harder, so go the easy way. Now, what I really like, I'm reading these slides, is really good. Extended settlement whilst getting the DA. So what this means is that you say, hey, I'm going to buy it, you pay the deposit. And then what happens is there's a certain time frame between when you sign the paperwork and then when you're actually going to pay for the actual site. And so what that means is most of the time, if you're just doing a house, it might be 42 days, right? And the bank pays them out, the whole type of thing. But in property development, you can do an extended settlement, which gives you the chance to go and get a development application that time. So really what you've got to understand here is the money out of your pocket might just be that 5% deposit, and that's just held in a trust, so that's secured, that's okay. But now you've got this time frame that if you had to sell on it straight away, then you've got this time frame again, the DA, which might be 6 months, which will be you just holding. So the good thing is that we can negotiate things like extended settlement so that you can get your development application all done, and then that's all finished, and then you settle. What was it, 6 months or 3 months down the line?
We had a 3-month settlement on this, but we knew the proven track record, which one of the things we got from the course was find out from your council, are they pro-development? And this council was really pro-development.
In this area though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is the whole thing. A council will have a map, and this is where it cuts down. You're looking everywhere, right? And you can cut that map down and say, this is where the council says yes. And you'll do that through all your research. And this is where the council haven't said yes to anything. And so that's what I think it is. You've got to kind of, it's almost like 1/8 of every suburb is easy to develop. But the rest of it, you just shouldn't even be bothered going there because it's just going to be too hard. Or else it's got to be really proven. So the DO was approved prior to settlement, which is great. And then have you commenced to build in this one?
Yeah, so we've started. So this is where we're at the moment. So the first picture shows you kind of when we bought the site. So that was back in December 2020. The sold sign went up on that. We had a little issue with our builder. So our builder, and I'll talk a bit more about this later down the track, but our builder, the day before we were meant to sign the contract, actually got arrested. So that was kind of threw everything out. But I rang Amy, 24 hours later after sitting, in the gutter, blowing in a brown paper bag for 24 hours. Amy, what do I do? And she said, well, just do the logical thing, find another builder. I'm like, okay, no worries, and that was great, And, we've got another builder now. It probably held us up by 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but the beauty of that is that we managed to make a massive gain in getting the DA approved before settlement. So it really didn't, make too much of a difference, and things like that happen, you know. And that's one of the things I've learned is in the building game, stuff's going to happen, and it's just how you approach it, you know. So last 2 weeks ago, we put our slab down. This went down just before the lockdown for COVID, so which worked out well for us. It went down on a Friday. They had a 2-week lockdown, so gave it time to cure. And then this week we've got the frames going up.
Yeah, beauty. No, that's great. And they're using the waffle pods there.
Yeah.
Which is, something we can talk about later, but they're very smart when you see they're using that. They're actually saving you money, which is good. Instead of doing full concrete ones, they're using waffle pods. So that's really good. So you can see it's a builder that's thinking about it, you know, but how does he save you money? So he can really, I mean, a slab's a slab, a piece of concrete on the ground is a piece of concrete on the ground. Obviously, it's got to be piered right. But really where you want to be spending your money is on, you know, the kitchens and the bathrooms and making the house slightly bigger if you can. So that's good. He's looks like he's
I think one of the things I learned from you guys was you control the build price. Like, you know, we didn't go to the builder and say, can you build this? How much is it going to cost? We went to the builder and said, Mr. Builder, you know, this is our budget. We need you to build something, and this is what we want. And they went, okay, we can do that.
And you don't approach yourself as a person. You say, we're a business, we're here to make profit, just like you are.
Yeah.
So if you're prepared to go on this business journey with us, we can work together in the partnership, win-win, but we need you to build for this budget. So that's very different, yeah. I hear you.
So this is kind of just a quick overview of what the internal is going to look like. Now, these are just the wireframes, which are the images that they put before they add the colour to it. So this isn't the final product. But we're looking at putting these on the market in about 3 weeks. So we want to get one of them locked away within the next month, and we'll probably just see how the market goes. We might sort of go close to selling the second one right on completion. We just want to de-risk it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would actually be doing the same thing. And you never sell 2 of them. Just sell one of them off, and then your argument is we're going to hold the one.
Yes.
The other one, then you go, okay, then in the last minute going to do that. Yeah, that's great. And you've got the square set roof there.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So nice little development. So, and then, again, the beauty of this one is it's easy. You know, it's simple. It was no complex stuff. The ground was pretty level. There's no issues on the side.
Yeah, what I like about this are those windows right along the side there. Yeah. I found that's just something I love doing now. The high set windows, they don't have to be big anymore. And if they just run in a line from one side of the house all the way down the side, man, when you wait till this is finished and you walk through there, it will feel fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice. So I mean, that's where we develop. We develop in areas which are kind of closed in, you know, and so you're going to have privacy issues. So you've got to kind of work out how do you still get the light in, but still protect the privacy. So that's great. Well done there.
Yeah, nice to hear you say that, Jason, because I think, you know, the builder we felt with this one really knew his stuff. You know, like I remember him saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. If you've got to save money, don't take it out of here. Because this is what's going to give you your best bang for your buck. So, interesting that he'd comment on that, because the builder was very much along the lines of keep these windows. You know, this will be a real game changer.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then this is just the numbers. So we started out on this one sitting at around about 180,000 profit, which was showing around about 16.8%. Given that there's a little bit of growth, we've picked up a little bit of growth in this one. So we're looking at around 240,000 profit and around about a return on cost of total development cost 19.8%. But the nice one here is, you know, return on equity, 105% on return on equity, which is a nice.
Yeah, and I think that's important. That's why we do it for the return on the equity. So what that really means, if you're new to this world, is it's not about how much you can borrow from the bank, because everyone can borrow the money from the bank. That's not the big thing. It's about the money that needs to go in, and out of a whole lot, if you can kind of try to work out of the money that you actually have to inject it in that wasn't part of a loan that you had to get from somewhere else, at the end of the day, when you sold everything, how much was that money rewarded? Because that's using money to make money. So the first bit of using money to make money is use a bank's money to make money. You know, so there's a cost in that alone. So I like to kind of do 3 of them. I like to do development profit. Then I like to see how much did we make out of the bank's money. Then I like to see how much did I make out of the money that I put in. So that's really good.
Nice.
So that's good. Now, coming back to this, I'm having a look here. See, I always look at this stuff and I go, yeah, agent commissions, selling costs, that's good. See, sometimes I will look at these and go, what would happen if I see someone else spending more money on advertising? Would that change the price at all of my development? So I kind of keep going back, or construction cost. If I'd actually now gone and done more square meters, now you know, right? You know, as an experienced property developer now, we get to this point when we talk about square meterage, is it 380, is it 400? And then that's kind of how we compare each other of what we've done, not about the internals or what it is, because we all know that more square meterage means more construction cost. Yeah. So we've got to say, is 20 square meters more going to actually change the end value? Where mum and dad, yep, I want that deck a bit bigger, but that's not how we think, right? Yeah. So we've got to constantly start thinking, what do we need to do within our margins of our square meterage that we do to be able to make the maximum profit margin? And that's one thing that I think you've done really well here. So that's good. That's good to see. I like that.
And look, doing this gives you a chance to kind of look and say, well, look, do I want a better number down the bottom here? Where do I need to go and try and save some money? Do I try and save some money on the acquisition price? This was listed at 460 acquisition. We got it down to 450. We just went back and said, look, the deal's too skinny. We need to find some money. The builder's not prepared to drop it anymore. You want to sell the property? We need it at 450. And they said, okay, but don't tell the neighbour, so.
Yeah. I always say this is our budget. I love that word budget, because they know what you're talking about as well. Like, it's such a beautiful negotiation power. So that's good. Good to hear. Okay, so then we've got Project 4, the Black Butts twins. Okay, so we're looking at another duplex here, a bit different design, obviously, very cost effective here. That's good.
So the thing with this one, Jason, was that I was starting to feel confident in feeling that I could source good deals and read the market. So the market was moving really quickly. It was hot down there, and this site came on, and it had a DA approval, and that, when you think about it, 8 to 12 weeks, it would say we could get started on this pretty much straight away. We just needed to make some modifications. We knew this site had some challenges, and I actually bought it for the challenges. I know that sounds a bit sadistic, but it was a sloping block. There was some water issues, but it gave us a really good bargaining tool. And I just worked really closely with the builder, and I said, how can you mitigate this? How can we save money? What's it going to cost? What's our worst case scenario? And he said, no, we can do this, we can do that. We can go back to council, we can get this modified. It's going to cost you a little bit less because we can change the roof structure. And we managed to pull about $60,000 in cost just by doing things differently. The roof line has changed significantly, and we saved about $25,000 just in the roof line alone, just changing the design. The person that did the design, the DA, was a very high-end builder and was really just looking for something really sexy. But we tried to just sort of dumb it down a little bit just to save cost, and this is the result that we kind of got.
Yeah, and like you can see here, this is something that we do a lot. It's about your materials that you use. You use a mix of materials so that you don't have to do the whole thing out of brick. But what you can do is you do something that brick is a beautiful thing to use, right? But your eyes will capture the brick and go, that's really nice. And they don't really need the whole thing done in brick. Now you've got brick down the bottom. And there's a thing that people don't know about, really, if they're not really in the game so much. And that is this thing called decorative brick. And decorative brick would not hold up a house. It's still a brick. So sometimes we build the whole houses in just cladding. Yeah. And then it's all finished, it's all structural, and then we just get this decorative brick, which is probably about half the size in thickness of a normal brick, and we just chuck all the decorative brick out there so it looks like decorative brick. And normally, that's what we do, right? And people go, oh, we can do that, And then normally the easiest way for the builders is just do the whole thing in big brick and use it as a structure. So there's all these little tricks that you can do. I've even seen, so thin decorative brick put on things, but it looks beautiful. So that's all these little tricks in the game, is so that you keep your cost down, keep the motivation up there to be able to sell looking good. And what you said then is a good tip for people, especially even if they're doing their own homes, the drainage, the roof, the angles, even the downpipes, everything has to turn and go here and go there and expose, or box gutters and that type of stuff. Like if you put box gutters on this, which is like an internal type of gutter on your roof. Let's put it that way, right? And then it collects all the water, then it goes down. So it's not a gutter on the side of a house, but it's kind of inside the roof. And they're pretty cool, right? But that costs you so much money. So then you've got to go back and you've got to say, hey, it doesn't look great with all these downpipes coming everywhere, but what is my final sale price? I'm really will someone still buy it on the merits? Now, if I do suddenly take away the box gutters, then suddenly start doing the external drain pipes, what else do I need to do? I need to then spend, instead of save 30 there and spend 10 on the garden. So I think those are the key things for this, So that's good, okay.
So this was a good one, like 14-month turnaround. And this has been a great one for learning. There's been those challenges and it's just working through. So there's a good profit on this. I think we've been kind of rewarded on this one, but by looking and getting a difficult site and making it work.
And these ones that you're showing us, are these with your own finance, or are you doing it with
Yeah, so this is with our own money. So we're doing this currently. So these are the final renders. So we've gone, and look, I really love this part of the development. When you start to see the pictures and the imagery come to life and that kind of thing, it just kind of gives you that real attachment to the project. So these are the internals. So we're looking, there's a couple of things where we could have saved a bit of money, but we thought this area is really booming at the moment. So a couple of things we kind of questioned ourselves: would we do floor to ceiling tiles in the bathroom, or would we do sort of to 1600 or 1800? We decided to go that little bit extra just to sort of soup it up a little bit. But like what you're saying, there's some areas that you can cut some money or to change some costs.
Well, you've done it here. It's classical. What we're looking at is subway tiles in the kitchen there, right? I don't know if you're going to go with that or not. It might just be a render. But subway tiles in the kitchen, which is fine, but then coming up and then instead of going with an expensive splashback or something in there, just saying subway looks nice and it's traditional for this area and it looks good. And then in the bathroom, you've done full tiles from floor to ceiling, which will give that wow factor, which is probably better than the guy down the road. So sometimes you've got to pay attention to your competition. Your sheer blinds are great. I always say to people now, just pay the money and get them chucked in there. Obviously, we pay wholesale, so we pay probably half the price of what mum and dad pay. But the sheer blinds is just the softness of it and what they do, especially when they're combined with wood, is amazing. And I like how they look like they're kind of inside the wall there. I'd probably pull them back out to save a little bit of money. But unless the budget kind of now, you're probably fine. It's because the extra value is fine there. But but that I would go put the sheer blinds in as well there. So that's great.
And then this is the FISO on it. So sitting at 322 on this one, which again, like for me, is that return on equity is that 123% return on equity. So
exactly.
That's what sort of triggers it for me. So this one is costing a little bit more, but it's in a little bit more premium area. It's a new development area, and I think hopefully we'll do slightly better than that. But on today's numbers, this is kind of where it's sitting. Yeah,
good. Okay, fantastic. Okay, number 5, landowner JV sounds interesting.
Yeah, so this one, it slowed down a little bit. We're a little bit scared that we might lose this one, but it's actually got traction again. We had I actually did a letterbox drop, which was learned from you guys. I actually was, because I was going down there so many times, I thought every time I go down, I'm just going to put 150 letters in a letterbox and then that'll just be part of the day. So we got a call on this one, and it's got an older guy who's lived there all his life. He knows it's a development site. He had it on the market really overpriced, and it sat there for 6 months. We went to him and said, look, we can't really afford to give you what you're wanting to do, but how about we do a JV? This is all we can really afford for the site. But if you're interested in coming along for the journey, I can leave a little bit of that expectation in it for you at the end. So we sat down, we explained how it all worked, and he got on board. He's really excited, and he wants to be part of something but doesn't want that responsibility. And I think that's where, what you guys are teaching is to become developers and conductors of the team, and really just inspire people to get involved with that. So this is going to be a nice deal for us. It's currently going through we've had our pre-council meeting. We've got the ticks from council. We're just doing final kind of costings now with architects, builders, town planners, and hopefully we should have a resolution and a final number on this within the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks.
Beautiful. That's good. So Project 5, this is great. Yeah.
Project 6 hasn't started. Project 6 is we're not looking for property. We've maxed out again. So we're actually looking for JV partners. And for me, I now feel really comfortable in being able to talk with authority about development. I feel comfortable about putting a team together. And I think
that's a big thing that you've done, right? That's really what development's about, is putting a team together and then showing someone that you'll be responsible with them. You know, as you go along with their money, you're showing that you'll be in charge of it. I feel that that's an important thing to do. Yeah.
So good. This is the kind of on the cards now, is, you know, building out, getting in front of people, you know, getting a social media strategy going, and really starting to build that bigger portfolio. I guess some of the skills that I've really learned from property development, I guess for me, it's becoming the conductor. The biggest skill that I've learned is really just pulling the whole team together. And, you know, you've got your architects and your builders and your real estate agents, your buyers agents. They've all got to kind of work together, you know, and I think the responsibility of a developer really is to make that happen and to make that mesh happen.
And one thing I talk to people about, especially, is you've got to be ruthless, because you've got to be acted like a business. So if someone's not performing, or someone doesn't come to the right price, or someone just doesn't in your gut feel right, you just get rid of them. There's nothing personal about this. The thing that people fail on most of the time when they get into it is they treat it personally. They use their personal instincts instead of their business instincts. So you just got to act like you're a boss, and these are your applicants whenever you're picking crews, people to work with, right?
Yeah.
They let you down, just get rid of them. Don't feel guilty about it. It's a business. It's about making money, and that's as simple as that. Yeah, great.
And I think a lot of the guys that you use, the different services, actually really appreciate having someone like yourself as a property developer. Kind of keeps them busy. You know, you're kind of keeping them in business, and they know the value that developers can bring to their business.
Yeah, and it's that structure of what we teach everyone is, 50% of it is business. When I teach people, I want you to copy my business model, and that is acting as a B2B business arrangement instead of a business to consumer. You always say, hey, I'm not going to play the consumer game anymore. I've got to let everyone know that I'm business to business. And this is where a lot of business is done, and where we really appreciate people. I mean, even when I was in the film and television industry, if we used to rent out video cameras to people. If I rent out the public, that's your price. If a business rings me up, immediately you get a 20% off this price. And so that's what we've got to always be letting people know, that we're a business dealing with another business, and that makes all the difference. So you say here, always have a plan B and C. That's good.
Look, I think the old days of having a plan B, I mean, things go wrong. You know, I mean, I lost a builder the day before, you know, I started contract. It was just, stuff happens, you know. And I think
did you have another builder lined up? Like, have you already interviewed other people? Now you would, obviously.
Yes.
It's kind of a process that we teach you to. Sometimes I remember when this is like, you know, Amy is my partner, and I think I'm a bigger vision person. I'm very good at doing the research and finding it. And she just loves a negotiation thing. I don't really get involved in that. She loves doing that. But sometimes we'd have a builder, okay, we're using that builder, good. And then we'd have another 10 meetings with other builders. And I'm like, why are we having all these meetings with these builders? What if the first builder doesn't come up with the price or whatever? Then we just go to the second builder. Well, I want to see what all these people do. Then I'll pick the best three. And then out of the best three, I will work out, you know, which one is my first. That will normally come down to budget and reputation of what they've done before. I mean, I'll have my second and my third, but my second and my third, I will take care of them as well. Don't worry. And that's pretty much what we've always done. So everyone says you use the same builder. I'm like, well, it just depends, you know. We will always have a backup. Yeah.
And I like that, because I think that's something I learned, is that, you know, and that's why I sort of said you've got to have a plan B and C on everything, you know, and it leads me to my next point, you know, accept that things will go wrong, you know, and be able to plan and foresee, look, if this goes wrong, not being negative in any way, but just being strategic.
No, or automatically do it. I mean, like I said before, when we demolish a house, we put a big sign in the house saying, this is the one to demolish.
Yeah.
I mean, we just think about what could go wrong because
Yeah.
we see
Yeah.
neighbours' houses that look exactly the same one day could maybe they demolish the neighbour's house. So we just counter react. What could go wrong? Bang, let's put a sign up. This is the one to demolish.
Yeah.
We've had it happen before with cutting electricity.
Yeah.
And we've learnt these lessons where I heard a guy say, hey, had to get electricity cut, and they cut the neighbour's one instead of mine. So now I'm like, okay, write that down. And Dexter, our project manager, works for us, gets a sign, laminates it, puts it on the power pole. This is the one to cut. So that's all part of it. You just plan that what could go wrong and then counter react that. Yeah.
Okay. Look, a couple of other things.
Yep.
I think investing in mentors, at every level. I think that the linchpin for me and the leverage and the catalyst for my growth has been, joining you guys, and even, at the base level of PDS, and then elevating up into next level. I think my growth, to look back, and I think I might have been telling someone a couple of months ago, to go from $40,000 in the red every year to this year, having been in PDS and for probably 2.5 years, to be looking at $500,000 profit, and next year we're probably pipelining around $1 million.
In the millions, yeah.
I mean, there's one thing, a common denominator there, and that's kind of a mentor. And that, for me, that property mentor is yourself and Amy. So,
and I think it's sometimes it's motivation too. Like, we're never ever going to agree that what you're doing, if you're in a problem, we'll never focus on the problem, right? Yeah. And that just comes through us, well, one, knowing the solution, but two, knowing that the end game, from our experience of doing 50 odd properties or whatever, we know the end game is there. And so we don't have to focus on what the issue should be. It's just, well, what's the best way to maneuver around that? And so we can always look at ourselves in your situation. I think the one thing when you're working with a mentor, though, is just to look at that person, because it's so hard when people kind of compare, should I use this person, use that person? And it is really just your gut instinct of that person, and having a look at how much does that person share, their own experiences. And that's like when I went looking for a mentor as well. I looked at different people and I thought, I actually don't feel that's what a mentor should be doing. We should be sharing, sharing our projects, our knowledge, our marketing, our sales, every point of it. And the person that you can see that is really sharing that, and not kind of saying, oh, go and do this person, or go and do that person, or, kind of diverting you off, is probably where you get the right mentor. And that's where I think it really helps you, where you're seeing that, well, we can help you through that process because we've been there before. So you can get some faith in us that what we're telling you is the right way, right?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And look, that leads on to the next point, is learn to assess sites quickly, particularly in this market, to be able to kind of look at a site, become the expert in your area, carries a lot of weight. People, even my builder was saying to me the other day, what do you think is going on in the area? How do you see the market moving over the next 6 months? I'm like, wow, he's asking me, So I think, learning to assess those sites quickly and becoming that expert. And then,
when this market is hot, this is when you need to just draw, because sometimes it can be too much stuff on, or there can be opportunity there to make money so much everywhere. Then you just got to go back to the basics, right? You could easily look over a map. Like, when I look at properties, some people go on realestate.com.au and they bring up all the different properties that are for sale, blah, blah, blah. I just bring up the map, and then I look at all the dots on the map, and then I kind of work around that map exactly, because it comes back to location, which is the ultimate thing in real estate. So don't look at where the property is. You might be wasting time. What the property is. Look at the map first, and then click on the buttons of the map and bring up the properties to be able to see them. And then if you don't feel that property is exactly in the right area, wait for one to come along. Or one thing that you have the ability to do now, because you've got the confidence, is know that you're going to be paying $800,000 or something for a block. And then you go, and then the neighbours, and then the agent's like, you might have to pay $850, mate, to get someone else. And then you just walk down the road to a neighbour and you go, would you like $800,000?
Yeah, wow.
That type of skill to be able to do that. Like, we were just looking at a block yesterday. Amy's like, well, here it is here. And I'm like, look, that kind of is a triangle block there. If we go 4 doors up, it's a rectangle.
Yeah.
So what's the price we're going to pay? We're going to pay this price? Okay, let me just go approach the person up the road there and just see if they want to sell for the same price, and bang, off the market, and no sales. And, it again is just lawyers. same lawyers you used previously. So I think the map strategy and what you build up as a property developer is really being able to look over a broad area and go, this is where I want to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how you can assess the site quickly, right?
Yeah,
Location.
totally. Yeah, yeah.
Identifying weak spots. That's also weak spots in the market, right? Where is the weak spots? Do you find that too? That's a good topic. Maybe we can quickly get into it. I know we're taking a bit of time here, but I think we're creating immense value for people listening. But the weak spots, I'm actually especially when it comes to buying property, I'm trying to spot the weak spot in the agent.
Yeah. Yes.
What is the weak spot here? Are they after? What are they after here? And that's when you've got to have a bit more of a conversation with the agent. You're trying to figure that out because they're the ultimate person in control there. But you kind of want to then get them into the sense of understanding that they could work with you long term instead of just short term, right?
Yeah. Look, I think weak spots is a big one. For me, I've always sort of thought, go with your strengths, but I think now, from what I've found in property, is looking at your weak spots and just really nailing it, and just wiping them out and making sure that you're constantly improving yourself. Which kind of brings me to my next points is, my challenges really is having the confidence to grow, getting out of my own way. And I think you mentioned before, Jason, about looking for the right mentor. I really felt energetically I was placed with Amy because it wasn't the conversations about property. It was more about what's up here, and that's confidence or past experiences that have got in the way and all that kind of stuff that, you go to make it, you could do all the due diligence in the world, but if you just don't have the confidence to take the next step, then you're going to lose that property. And then that's going to become a pattern. And then you've got to then break that pattern. And that's where I think working with Amy was great because she said, look, there's no reason why you shouldn't buy this property. Like, it's got all the boxes ticked. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, sometimes, we've been through it as well where we might not have hit the highest profit margin that we thought we have done. So we might go and we think we're getting 250 profit off a small deal, we might get 180. And so, but we've learned, it's just that pure thing of progressing through from, we've finished these 6 deals, you're the most experienced you can be. And this is when you suddenly start, and they're small, nice little small deals. I love them. And you haven't pushed yourself. The last one was a 4-pack or a 3-pack. I can't remember. What was it, a 4-pack or a 3-pack?
The one that we're doing now with the JV with the landowner is a 4-pack. So
a 4-pack, yeah. So you can see the progression where you just didn't go straight off into big development straight off. You've gradually gone up, which is the key to success. Is to compound and to keep going up from there. And not start giving yourself a hard job to do because you're chasing a profit margin, but the experience I can see that you build up through that is really good.
Yeah.
And again, that's what I did, right? It's what I'm trying to help you guys by really delving into my experience and Amy as well and saying, well, we know how to sell because we've both been in marketing. We know how to manage, but we don't know how to build a property. So we will go and speak to a whole lot of builders. Now that's nerve-wracking because, whatever, but that's our weakness. And so we identify it and move on, right?
Yeah. No, good point. And look, obviously challenges, not only personal, external challenges, accepting from in the building game, things will go wrong. My builder got arrested, was held us up 3 or 4 weeks, but we're moving forward. Construction costs increasing, but, again, that's just part of it. I think.
But on the other side, what else is increasing?
Well, the
sale price.
GRV is the gross realisation value is knocking right up, and I think that covers off on construction costs. It's
and isn't it? It's kind of good from our perspective. From mum and dad, they're saying, "Wow, this is more than what we expected, but don't worry, in the long run, we'll pay it off." From a developer's point of view, we say, "Okay, what is expensive?" What, the LVL beams are expensive? That's fine. Okay. Well, if that's going to go up, then I've just got to be more challenging about what I do on the ground. How can I actually cut this back? So we've actually got the ability to be able to throw these around and start seeing, and look, in a year's time, it'll all be leveled out anyway. It's sensationalism comes up now, but it's beautiful that the actual sale price has gone up as well.
Yeah. And in all honesty, probably 4 times the cost of the construction. So, it's one of those things. It's just a necessary evil at the end of the day, and then look, seeking the right team to work with and just understanding the build process is, what I kind of have found as challenges. And I wrote a lot of these things down, when I got started, and I said to Amy, I said, look, these are my concerns, they just seem to like drift away once you kind of put it out there and put it down on paper, rather than kind of going on your head,
That's a really good. I mean, that's one way that I kind of quickly help people out. And I say, I don't want to know about what you're good at. I want to know about all the things that you need to accomplish, that you're scared of, that you're worried about, so we can focus on solutions for them, lay all that out, and then we can move forward.
Yeah. And this is just, some advice that if I had the chance to sort of do it all again, what would I want to hear? For me, it's definitely investing in a mentor, and getting somebody that is the right mentor, as you say. And the cost of a mentor is insignificant to the cost of the gain that you'll get from it. For me, accepting that things will go wrong. I was a control freak. I never wanted things to go wrong. I'd get all wound up about it. But now it's just water off a duck's back. Okay, well, what next? What next? What do we need to do? And part of that sort of led me to just seeking out my own blind spots. It wasn't just that I was trying to be too controlling. Just accept that, as long as you're strategic, as long as you follow the system, you'll always kind of end up where you want to go. And that leads to sort of leaving that ego at the door, and having faith in a system. I think as humans, we all like to try and do it ourselves and put our own 2 bobs worth in.
But that's what you've done. You've left the ego of excuse making.
Yeah.
That's what you've accomplished that. And now, I mean, I honestly can't remember the conversations we've had before, because you've achieved so much that I've kind of forgotten about that, and I can't see you as the same person. But the conversations you might have, if you remember, before you started accomplishing this and getting ahead, might have been excuses.
Yes.
About
totally.
Hey, we or finding faults in things, and that's all just your ego. Then once you can actually address that and go, okay, I admit it, which is a big part of what we try to help people with. Once you've admitted that, and you can see where the things that are setting you back from going forward, and the major one is ego or excuses, and then you can come up with a plan by looking at, okay, well, why do I think like this, and then working on your mindset and that to get forward through that. Every time I hear you speaking about different journeys you've gone through and problem solving, that type of stuff, we really just have to address what we're doing like a business. You produce products in your business. There's going to be a thing where things don't turn up on time, or suddenly something's not available, or there's a price. I mean, you can still see that that's just a basic copycat into the building industry. We might not have grown up learning it, might not be our key one, but one thing we know is that when we build something, or when we buy something at wholesale, or build something at wholesale and we sell it at retail, we're making profit. So we need to just concentrate on that, the profit margin.
Yeah, totally. Good point. Like, so true. Another point for me, just going through my slide there, is taking stock, or take moments to take stock. And I think you've got to at some point just reflect back and see what you've done, and where you've come from. I think you can get into that whole kind of grind, but I think you've got to step back and go, wow. Like when I look at my renders now, I'm like, I can't believe I've created this, and it's the process that you follow that just gets you there. But you've got to then learn to sort of reflect back and say, look at the person you've become. The person I am today is not the person I was yesterday. Likewise, the person I'm going to be tomorrow is.
And you remember that person, though? Like, you've gone on a bit of a journey now, and you are still in the middle of a lot of this stuff, but you have set a plan for yourself now. You're a happier person. You've got solutions to things. You're achieving things that you want to achieve. I remember the bastard I used to be when I was a worker. Like, I was miserable, and I would treat people bad because I would kind of not like my job or what I was doing. And I was the type of person that if something went wrong, I'd grab all the stuff on my desk and I'd just throw it all. And I'd grab a staple or something and I'd throw it at the wall, and I'd feel really good that was done. I was never violent towards people, but I used to just have these breakdowns of and I'd just blame. Who can I blame? Who can I blame? I could actually leave that when I went home, and I could totally switch off, which I don't know where I got that ability to do it. Maybe because I'm a surfer type of thing. I'd just go in the water. No one can hassle me there.
Yeah.
But in work, like, I think of that person was just trapped in this whole way of wanting to do things but not having the solutions, and sometimes that mindset of always going to blame or excuse and never quite fixing the problem. Now I feel like I've got a problem, I'm fixing it straight away. I'm not going to let it grow.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's good for you personally, health wise, right?
Yeah, totally, totally. Look, I think, that whole ego, I look back and, you just gave an example then of your past and past experience of ego. For me, I look at the Bald Hills project and go, I had a property that wasn't making any money, but my ego was saying, I'll keep this for another couple of years and I'll try and make it work. I mean, gee, no, I'm not going to sell it. It's a dud, but I'm not going to sell it. So it's just, you got to let that stuff go.
Yes, it's true. No, I love it. Thanks for sharing that with me. Great. Okay, so future of housing, what do you see from what you've been doing now? And then also, delve into what you like and what are your personal likes as well.
Yeah, look, I think for me, I'm seeing a massive shift into sustainable housing, and we as a naturopathic clinic, and I guess this is coming from my other business, is we're seeing so many clients come into the clinic now with mold and biotoxins, that they're getting from their house, and their house is actually killing them, so this whole, I'll give you an example. I knew I was in the right room when I was with you guys at the last mastermind, and you had a building biologist, because those people are really the developers of the future, because our houses are a ticking time bomb, and this, you look at a lot of health issues and all of that kind of stuff. People are living in these dark, dingy, cold, clammy homes. It's not sustainable. Our health, we're in our home probably for 60% of our time, and we're a cooking time bomb, So I think that whole sustainability, building biology is going to be huge. I think and it's started. We're seeing bio homes, and seeing a lot of that down south now. Homes that are bringing in the natural light. They're well ventilated naturally. They're using eco materials and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's good, not just for a design perspective, but for a health perspective and a sustainability perspective as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see a lot more into the future of rooftop areas as well.
Yes.
Like even though they're expensive because you've got water and that type of stuff, the one thing you've got to understand is to do a rooftop, you've got to have a good builder. You've got to make sure that it's not a simple thing to do. But myself, I live in a 3-story place, 2 stories of house, and then 1 story of rooftop. And when I need to get away, being up high, I don't know what it is. It's like I go in the backyard, it's okay, but being up high and just being open to the air and the atmosphere and feeling the wind and looking the openness, not feeling trapped, is something a really great feeling. And so we put a big bed on the roof, one of those outdoor beds, and we spend a lot of time up there. And I've just realizing that these type of atmospheres, if we're enclosed, and the units have been doing it for quite a while when it's a big unit block, but the unit blocks that really work are the one with the rooftop areas where people can kind of escape. If they can't get out, at least they can go to the rooftops. So I think that's something that I see in the future. And every house I do from now on, I'm going to have a rooftop area.
Yeah. And look, it blends into what my last point. I think the home office is going to be a huge part of home, being that lifestyle. And a lot of the people that are moving down south are working from home. They might do 4 days down south working from home, and they might spend a day in Sydney. To have these kind of offices that are separate and done professionally, that it's not just sitting at the end of the living room table. It's actually a professional office with a kitchen and all that kind of thing, separate toilet and that kind of thing. I think it's important. We are kind of now
separate the living areas. I agree. Cool.
And then if this is just my personal taste, so we actually live in this building here, but we're around the back. Okay, but my dream, for a house or for where we live is something along these lines. Where close. This is Campbell Parade in Bondi. This is one of the penthouses that just sold recently for, it was $24 million. So, well, we hope to get there one day, but look, we're heading in the right direction and kicking some goals now. So, that's important.
Yeah, fantastic. This is great. I love that curve on that roof. That was great.
And my favourite wealth building strategy is property development.
That's it. Build it and profit, right?
Yeah.
It's simple. If many people get into property to be able to make money, right? This is why we try to do it. And then we all spend time doing the small strategies where we think we'll just do it on our own. We don't really need anyone's help. We'll figure it out as we go through. Yet the time wasted and the years and years wasted on portfolios that you look back on and you go, I've got some rent coming in here, but I've got annoying tenants and I've got all this maintenance to do, and and I did that on my own, so that's why it's leaking, and I did this. Like, it's really, that's a hard way to do it. Property can be very rewarding, and we can have multiple amounts of property, but property development does give that extra edge where you can create quality products, but you don't have to spend so much time on. And if you learn how to profit while you're doing it, it's just so rewarding, right?
Yeah, and it's fun. Like it's get up in the morning, you're creating stuff. It's awesome. It's a really good industry to be in.
And the other thing, if you want to go from the other side of point of view, is you're creating brand new homes for people. So not only are you giving them an emotional thing, but we had to think about the other day, I think we've done at least 200 homes for people.
Wow.
When we have a look at it, I'm thinking, because this came out of my child saying to me, Daddy, how many families are, like us are living in new houses like this, or what's a family that's living in that one, and how many homes have we built for families? And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that, because I'm just thinking about
that's awesome.
The product, and she goes, oh, and it's always whenever we sell something that who moved in there, Daddy?
Oh, that's great.
Is it, and then so she's so interested already now. And the one thing I'll leave you with here is, she said this to me one day. I can't remember how it came about. It's kind of like a running joke with her and me, is that she's 5 years old, and she goes, Daddy, you don't build one house, you build two. So that's what she is. You build two, and then you sell one, and then you make some money. And so this is like what she could already see that strategy is working by using. You need the skill to be able to do it. Once you get the skill, you can build two, sell one, make some money, move on. So simple, right?
I love it.
And she's like, that's what I'm going to do. And now, and then you'll see, they'll create little things, and she's even doing it now. Like, she'll have two homes. She goes, I'm going to sell that one, and she draws stuff. And I'm like, is this good? I don't know. She still does other stuff as well, but it's using that now is mindset in her head that if you create something and then you sell it, then you can also keep one, or you can sell one down. So that's pretty cool.
And that's great. Instilling those values in your kids, it's just awesome. It sets them up for life.
Yeah. And she can see the people that we help when we're on stage as well, and helping people. That's what she says. Like, I say, I'm going to go do a conference, or I'm going on a strategy call with someone, or I'm doing an online webinar. And that's what I tell her I'm doing. Immediately, her response back is, "Are you helping people today?"
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think, I am. You're teaching people. I'm like, awesome. Well, I'm not a teacher, but I say I'm a teacher. Yes, I'm teaching people. She goes, oh, that's good. I like that, Dad. I'll give you permission to go do that instead of play with me for an hour, So, you've got to see things, I think, from the child's point of view, really. And maybe that's even asking, do you like what I do for work? What are the things that you want more out of as well?
Yeah.
And so that's what we do as well. And she can pick the people that we work with as well, like even the builders and that type of stuff. She goes, oh, I like this building,
nice. Yeah.
So there is something that you do. And you shouldn't be around people in your profession that you don't personally think, you don't respect. You should be kind of picking that with your people. It's not always about the price. It's about that person behind it. And that's the same thing now. You've built up a development company.
Yeah.
And it's not about the profit margins so much that people should be focusing on. It should be about who's the person that is going to make that happen.
Yeah.
And do they feel confident that this person is looking at the proof that this product will work? And that's one thing I'm seeing very much now when people want to be investors. They've got to look at behind the person behind it, not just about the 50% profit margin, or we're going to make $1 million or whatever. This is what's predicted. It can only happen unless that person can be trusted. So look at the person and examine that person that is developing the property and see, the traits that they have. So coming back to that, then what traits do you feel now that you have developed that you can approach to developers, to approach as a developer to investors?
Yeah, good question, Jason. I think for me, number one internally is confidence, to be able to talk. And I think a lot of people now, particularly when it comes to investment, are very savvy. They know the questions to ask, and they can sense that. We've all had an experience where you just know someone's not right. And I feel I've got that level of confidence now where I can have confidence in myself and deliver that, but also the skill. And I think it's you're not tested until you have those challenges put in front of you, and then you can make an assessment on whether or not you did that well. And I think I've learned to be able to assess my decision making, and then to be able to reassess if I didn't make the right decision, how to correct that for next time. And I think it's that.
Yeah, and I think a good skill, a skill that I've picked up on here just listening to you is you're very good at picking the right teams now.
Yes. Yeah.
The people, the relation that you've got the business behind you as well, where you're used to build. Obviously in your own business, you're used to providing a service to the public. You're not just an employee, you actually are there providing a service to the public. So you've already got that background in business, which I think is a good trait as a developer. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's just a strength that you have.
Yeah.
And so I think, and the next thing is your age.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not looking for the next shiny thing here. You're in a relationship, so you're steady. I don't think we haven't gone into if you've got kids or family or any other things going on. But I think that whatever you're in situation, age also brings together a confidence where people can be happy to invest with you, because you're not going to be running away having a crisis tomorrow.
Yeah.
And already by the mindset that we've worked together to instill in you, that's where the confidence can happen from an investor coming and investing with you.
Yeah. Good point.
And that's sometimes I think we've got to say my age is my best benefit. My previous business and my current business that I have is my benefit there. I know how to produce. I know how to go through a tough time. I know how to do this. This is what I've personally done here. This is how I accomplished it. Yeah. What the accomplishment out of it was. So I think those type of things are really going to make your company now very strong in the investor market as well, because that's what we have to do as businesses. We have to nail it and figure out how to do it. But then to grow, it is a great journey when you start doing joint ventures with people, because you're doing exactly what you're doing now. Yeah. That you're actually helping that investor get a good return as well by using your skills, and that relationship together has been the most rewarding thing of my whole development journey. I'm sure it will be for you as well. So do you have a slide of your company? Can we bring that up again?
I can bring up, yes. So this is
bring up
my
that
company.
First slide again, because I want people to be able to check you out and follow your journey. So there it is there, Woodstone Developments. Okay.
Yep.
So what are you on? Are you on any other social media?
Yeah, so Facebook. Anyone forced you? I'm on Facebook, and I've got a website, woodstonedevelopments.com.au. And if anyone wants to get in contact with me, my email address is just grant@woodstonedevelopments.com.au. Yeah, and happy to have a chat.
And I think what people should do is follow you and see that the success that you're going along. And I'm sure that your Facebook and your website will, especially with Facebook, because you can update it so quickly, see this guy and how he's going to be going on. And the team, it's not only you, it's both of you guys, the type of things that you're doing, and follow that person along for at least 3 months and see if they are active in the market, if they're moving, if they're interested in promoting themselves and their skills and abilities. And that's where you'll really know that you'll be someone that takes action. And that's what the most important thing is, anything in development and anyone running developments, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for being so honest and open with us and sharing your whole story with us. And I'm sure people get massive value out of hearing, the different journeys and what you can accomplish. But this is why we do this. We wanted to prove to people out there that with a bit of guidance, with the right strategy, right skill, the right mindset, the right acceptance to be able to say, hey, extreme ownership, this is what I'm going to be doing, that it is possible, and that you shouldn't be worried about it. All you need to do is start. You need to start getting the right education, start finding the right people to follow, and then change your life.
Well said. That's really well said, Jason.
Okay, great.
I think,
Well,
I mean, I just can't say anything in addition to that, because I mean, I followed your model, you know, and I followed you guys for months, and you know, I checked you out, and it ticked every box. You know, it was just great. You know, and I just can't thank you guys enough. I can't believe I'm sitting here, you know, talking to my mentor. You know, about developments. You know, so it's great. You know, living the dream.
yeah, and it's a great reward for us. I mean, people say, well, you've made it now. You know, why do you teach people and go through all that journey and all that type of stuff? I'm like, well, it's on the top of my list. You know,
Yeah.
seeing other people be able to help out with this, because I didn't start here on my own. I just got the education, got the mentors on board. Now I'm able to pass that on. So yeah, I just like to say thanks to you guys. I mean, if anything here, I love the fact now I've got all these people that are doing exactly what I'm doing, so I can have great conversations and great fun with them. There's nothing better than having a group of people that are focused and experienced. So thanks very much for sharing that with me.
Pleasure. Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much.
See you, Grant. Bye.
Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.